So BlizzCon is always the place that we try to bring kind of our craziest heroes and really try to break the mold of our hero design. And this year we brought 2 heroes that do this. Varian is our first multi-class hero. So what that means is that you have talent choices where you can actually change the way he plays dramatically, and as far as he'll actually transition from being a warrior to an assassin based on the talent choices that you make in the game. So this is a first for us. You know, we've pushed our talent system really far in the past, and we've tried to give people some really strong options, like strategic choices that they're going to make. And you know, we've done things like Karazim being able to be more of like going more on a damage side versus straight healing. So we've experimented with that a lot, but Varian really takes that to the next level. He has talent choices at level 4, where he gets three choices that he gets to make there that basically augment him and his team and start picking direction for him. One of them is a speed boost, one's ability power, and one is resistant. So he's making a choice there. And then at level 10, he actually has 3 heroic abilities that push him again in a different direction. So the combination of those things means there's 6 different ways to play Varian, and you get to make those choices in the game based on what's going on, what you need at that moment, and it really changes up the way he plays and adds a whole new level of kind of talent depth to the game that we've never had before. So we're super excited about Varian. He's awesome. And then the other new hero is Ragnaros. And I think Ragnaros for us was all about the fantasy. It was all about trying to capture that feeling of being the raid boss. And that's a big challenge in a game like Heroes of the Storm. The game doesn't particularly lend itself well to having some gigantic, super powerful character on the map. So our solution for that was that normally Ragnaros is kind of cruising around in hero mode, and he's pretty much the same size as the rest of the heroes in the game. But his trait, Molten Core, lets him take over a fort, and so this can be your forts, whether they're standing or destroyed, as well as destroyed enemy forts. So you get to take over the fort, and you grow to like massive raid boss mode. All your abilities get more powerful. You have a huge range all around the fort that you've taken over. And he's just kicking tons of butt and tearing things up in raid boss mode. So we get this cool combination of being able to have a really cool assassin on the map, that he is an assassin. He's out there tearing stuff up, and then at certain moments you get to go into full-blown like raid mode and tear things up. So I think we're really excited for both of them. They're both here at BlizzCon. Varian actually goes to our test round next week, so people can start playing him really soon from home. He'll launch November 15th, and then Ragnaros will come into the game in December. But we're super excited to bring these 2 into the game, and it's fun at BlizzCon to have not 1 but 2 of these crazy heroes. Yeah, so Blackheart's Revenge is our latest brawl, and you know, we just released our Heroes Brawl mode just a little while ago, and it was the evolution of the arena maps we showed last year, plus taking inspiration from Hearthstone's Tavern Brawl and Overwatch's Brawl that they have as well, which is really, these games use that as a playground to try new things. They get to experiment with stuff and create a new experience every single week for players. So we're embracing that, and we're creating our own version of that in Heroes of the Storm. But Blackheart's Revenge is our first asymmetrical map. So that means there's 2 different win conditions. One team is trying to help Blackheart's ship sail across the map and destroy the core, because there's only 1 core, and the other team is trying to defend the core. So they are gathering up cannonballs, and they're going to cannons that are on the map. The ship is kind of slowly sailing across the map, and you're trying to just will it down, destroy it before it can get to the end and destroy your core. So both teams kind of have their own objective. It plays out, it's really fast, it's really fun, but it's a different experience. It's something we've never done in the game before. It's something we can't really today do in our normal battlegrounds, so Brawl is the perfect place for us to play around with something like this. But it's going to launch on November 15th as a Brawl, or the week of November 15th, so people can play that as well. And like all of our Brawls, every time we do them, it's a learning experience. We're going to look at what's working, what's not working, we're going to iterate on them, and you'll see that when we bring them back, they'll be bigger and better, and so it's going to be really cool to get that first iteration out there. I think we can do anything there. I think this is our first kind of foray into something like that, having a really big presence on the battleground. As you know, we try to make each hero kind of fill their own niche, and we don't want them really overlapping a lot. So there were a lot of challenges with bringing Ragnaros to the game. Originally, we were experimenting with things like, you can pop him up anywhere on the map. He can just appear in like full-blown raid boss mode. But that's really challenging, and it breaks a lot of our maps, and it creates a lot of weird pathing problems. It just did a lot of things, so that was challenging. We experimented with him being on our core. So originally Molten Core was literally you would take over the core as him. So that did a lot of weird things, like you're not directly attacking him anymore. Does that mean the only time you ever really see him is the end of the game when you're about to win and you're destroying him? Like, that doesn't feel very raid bossy, and it wasn't epic enough for us. So there's challenges with that, but now that we've done this, I think it opens the door and we get to test it out and see what kind of cool ideas that are going to come from there. I'm really excited for Heroes of the Storm's esports. You know, this year, 2016, is our first real full year of esports. We just launched last June, and last year we only had a little bit of kind of the tail end coming up into BlizzCon after the game launched. But this year we had our full year. We got to experiment with some things. We learned a lot. We just recently announced the HGC, the Heroes Global Championship for 2017, and there are amazing plans for that, where we're building our first kind of organized league. We're going to be paying salaries. There's all these things where we're really trying to build a sustainable ecosystem for Heroes esports. We're also creating like some consistency with our schedule of when and where you can watch games of Heroes. So next year, it's going to be this really cool experience where you're going to know every week where to tune in to watch North America, Europe, Asian Heroes esports. And we're going to get to see them across all the regions too. So it will be a really cool, organized, kind of orchestrated effort next year. And I'm really excited to kind of see where it goes from there. No, it's not something we're actively working on. I think it's a cool idea. I think there are challenges. If it did, it wouldn't be the same game, obviously. It would just be a game that kind of riffed on it. But right now, it's not something we're actively working on. But I mean, I play tons of mobile games, and it would be cool to have something there. But it's just right now, we're focused on making Heroes, the PC and Mac game that does all these awesome things. It varies wildly. I think there are some teams where we go off and we're making, like the Diablo team, we go off and make our stuff and we show it to them and they're like, cool, and we just go. And then what's interesting about the Diablo team is they've actually come back through and taken things that we did in Heroes and bring it back into Diablo 3. So that was a really awesome experience to have them they brought some like Nazebo things over, and there's a couple of abilities that have come over from our takes on them back into the game. So that's kind of like the interesting full circle approach. There are other teams, the Overwatch team we've worked really closely with. You know, they are nurturing this brand new game world and this new IP, and we got the opportunity, and they actually gave us the opportunity to bring Tracer into Heroes of the Storm before Overwatch had even launched, which was amazing. Like, they actually came to us and said, will you do Tracer, and will you do her before launch? We're like, yes, hello, yeah, we're gonna do it. So with them, I think it's a much more tightly knit conversation that we have, where every step of the way, we're working really closely with them on what we're doing with the Heroes, what we're doing even with things like the videos that we're making, but they're right there, and they're just super in tune with their game. Yeah, there's this huge spectrum there across the game teams of how much collaboration and interaction we have, how much they're involved or just watching from afar and going, yeah, that's cool, let's do it. We are. So we have our State of the Game panel that's coming up here really soon today, and they'll get into the details on this, but I will say that our current progression system, so we have hero levels, we have player level, we have rewards that are kind of peppered out across that, and most of those rewards are really concentrated at the beginning of that journey. We're not happy with that. We want to completely redo that. So we're going to overhaul our progression system. We're going to overhaul our reward system. That includes both like the things that you get as you move along, and then like milestones. Things like right now at hero level 9, you get the master portrait. At hero level 10, you have the ability to get the master skin. But then after that, there's nothing. There's just gold. You work really hard to get to level 20. I've done it twice now. I have 2 heroes at 20. That's a lot of time. It's a lot of time. And there's a gold reward, but there's nothing else that kind of shows that. Unless someone goes to your profile, they're not going to see that you play that much. Yeah. So it's really important to us that those milestones, that those big achievements are going to have something that you'll be able to show people where they'll know, and it'll be really visible. They'll know that you did that. And so when we revisit that stuff, I think you can expect us to do so much more than we've done now, because admittedly it falls off just dramatically. Like, nothing happens after level 10, and a couple gold rewards. So I'm really excited to do that, because anyone who plays this game has been at player level 40 forever, right? It's something that we got really early, and then there's nothing. So every time you play, you're like, oh, okay, well that's not moving anymore, so I guess I won't look at that. So it becomes almost meaningless. So I want something that every time you play the game, every mode you're playing in, you're making progress towards something that's kind of showing your overarching passion for this game and what you're doing in it. I think there's a lot of initiatives going on that are trying to strengthen the overall Heroes esports scene. One of the things is, we're trying to take everything from the amateur scene through, like in North America, through the college scene up into our pro scene, and create this environment where there's a clear path and clear way that players can be able to go from being just, I'm playing Heroes, I'm in ranked play, I'm doing really well, maybe I become a grandmaster, how do I get from there to being here at BlizzCon next year to battling it out for the World Championship. I don't have the details on exactly how like the local scene plays into that. At BlizzCon, Sam Braithwaite, he is kind of our director of the esports for Heroes. I think he's talking more about it. There's a couple of interviews and things that Sam's doing here where he'll dive into that stuff more.